Welcome back to Arise Review. They are middle-aged men now, but they were just young teenagers in 1989 when they were railroaded by prejudice and by America's criminal justice system. After spending years in jail, they finally won their fight for exoneration, and now they're close to winning some compensation for the ordeal they suffered. They are Central Park 5, 4 African Americans and 1 Hispanic wrongly convicted of raping and beating a white female jogger. And this story captured national attention and was exposed in an award-winning documentary by Ken and Sarah Burns and David McMahon.
5 youths were arrested at 96th Street, all between 14 and 15 years of age.
They got him!
You can only imagine the pressure to have this crime solved, and solved quickly.
First we was all together, then they started to put us in different rooms separately.
What did you do? Who were you with? Who did you come with?
The tone was very scary. I felt like they might take us to the back of the precinct and kill us.
We falsely convicted them, and we walked away from our crime.
In 2002, the men were released from jail after a confession confirmed by DNA identified another assailant. And now there's word that the city is settling with the men, paying them $40 million in damages. Joining me are criminal defense attorney Gwendolyn Lindsay-Jackson and Nayaba Arinde from the New York Amsterdam News. Welcome to both of you.
Good morning.
I've got to ask, first of all, you think this is justice served 25 years later? This compensation, and the city controller still has to approve this amount. What do you think?
I mean, in a way, it is, for those gentlemen, it's been 26 years, really. It's over for them in a lot of ways, and they can sigh, a sigh of relief. A lot of people are saying, though, the $40 million is just not enough for 25 years of suffering. You've got these guys when they were teens, and they've suffered for 25 years for something they did not do. And some people say the city knew they didn't do it from the beginning. There was no evidence. There was no DNA evidence. There was nothing but these coerced confessions. And $40 million between the 5 men and the lawyers. It's not.
And the lawyers are probably getting a good.
They'll get a third, more than likely.
Yeah.
And that's what the cut is. That's what it is. But these men suffered. And then to have Bloomberg for 12 years saying, "Not on my watch will I pay you," and to challenge the lawsuits.
This is what I don't understand. Why was the Bloomberg administration so dead set against making sure that these young men, now middle-aged, were not compensated? Why?
Well, I think it speaks to this whole culture of trying to not admit when you are wrong. And I think it's really unethical, and I think it's, to be honest with you, it's quite despicable. And I think it speaks to this whole culture, unfortunately, in the prosecutor's office, that, it's all about winning. It's all about winning at all costs. And I, quite frankly, think that they really need to do an investigation to see if the prosecutor's office buried any exculpatory evidence, because that's unethical conduct.
Well, here's the key in all of this. Outside of not giving a public apology, which they probably will not do for these gentlemen, which I think would go a long way, the people that were involved in this case, I'm talking specifically about the police department. And the lead detective on this case, who many people know is now a reporter in New York City. I mean, you're talking about coercing information and all the stuff that went on. That shouldn't any of these people face some charges at this point, in your mind, in your opinion?
Absolutely, they should. There was Mike, you talk about Mike Sheehan, who was the lead detective, or one of the detectives in the Central Park 5 case. He was also the detective who arrested Mateus, Reyes Mateus, the guy that actually did the rape and confessed to the rape. Mike Sheehan, not only did he arrest him, he took his blood. Now, he could have compared, he was also a lead detective in the Central Park 5 case. You could have compared the samples. They had DNA at the crime scene. He did not do that, but he could have done. Mateus Reyes, he went on to rape somebody else and kill somebody after the Central Park 5 case. If you'd got him then, he'd done a crime 2 days before Patricia Mealy was raped, they could have got him then, and they did not. And they knew these guys did not do it, and they took them for 25 years. They took their lives. And Linda Festi was a prosecutor.
That's right.
She's now writing novels. Elizabeth Lederer is at Columbia teaching, I think. All these people who were involved in this case, and it's just like the sister said, to investigate the case because the city is now paying $40 million, which is not a lot, I don't think, but they're paying because of these errors that were made, or these hiding evidence, that you could have just used easily to say these guys, there was no evidence to prove that they did anything.
Right, and we still have that out there, so in a sense, for a lot of people, they probably feel and that there's still like a lack of justice here. But let me ask you a question. Does this case now set a precedent for other cases where people in the African-American community have been wronged, and now perhaps they may look at things differently in how they prosecute cases, how they investigate cases, in light of what has happened with this settlement?
I think it should. It absolutely should. And I think it should be used as a beacon so that people who are prosecutors, that people who are lawyers, that they understand that you have an obligation to seek justice. That is your obligation. Your obligation is not just to win a case, not just to make sure that you get a conviction. And I think it should, the mindset in the mind of lawyers and prosecutors' offices should be to seek justice. And I really think that because now we are getting more publicity behind the case now, even at this late date, that it will make changes. And I think it should.
Yeah, and it's interesting, too, because, many could say and argue, I still would agree that we still probably have the best legal system and justice system in the world, but we still have plenty of flaws.
Absolutely.
And things that really need to be corrected. And I think justice delayed here is justice denied.
You've got to look at what's going on in Brooklyn, for example, with the new DA, Ken Thompson. He took over from Charles Hines, who was there for 23 years. Ken Thompson has freed 6 men in 7 men in 6 months who were wrongfully convicted. One man was convicted of a murder when he was in Florida, and they had all the evidence, and they still convicted him. So there's a system in the system which is corrupt.
And we know about that. We've run out of time, though, Gwendolyn. But thank you so much for joining us. And as I said, this is something, of course, I'm sure we'll be focusing on in the near future as well.
Thank you so much.
All right.